What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Beasley. Hope you all are staying productive and motivated. I'm coming at you guys today with a season 4, episode 7 review of Insecure, Lowkey Trippin. So this week we have a Molly episode. Let's just go ahead and get this one on over with. So, no look of the week once again, but I must say I really do love the way they style Molly. She is the style icon of this show. From her Christian Dior bag to her off-white tracksuit that she was wearing to her MCM boots. Like, I really like that they drive home that she's a lawyer and that she's paid, and she's basically the fashionista of the show. So we pick up where we left off last week at the Ethiopian restaurant, but instead this week we get it from Molly's perspective. So we see Molly, she's harassing the waitress, ordering her food, and then she turns and she sees Issa pulling up to the restaurant and about to get up out of her car. So her being the fake girl that she is, she turns and plays on her phone and acts like she didn't see Issa. So Issa, she walks up to the door just like last week, and then she decides to leave. And when Molly looks over, she has like a surprised look on her face, and I'm just like, well, girl, what did you expect? You ass munch. So we see at Molly's house, Andrew, he's on the couch talking to his brother, basically about the plans that they are going to have on the trip. And then Molly walks in and is complaining to Andrew that, like, I saw Issa and man, that girl ran away from me faster than a job. And I'm just like, once again with this unnecessary slick shade that she has towards Issa. Like, you would think that them two weren't even friends at any point in time. So Andrew asked Molly, well, did you end up talking to her? And she was like, no. And then he was like, oh, well, are you going to apologize? And she's like, no, this whole thing was her fault. Like, why do I need to apologize? And, well, somebody help this child. Like, she just has no form of self-awareness whatsoever. So she reassures and checks herself, like, you know what? Issa's messy ass isn't coming on this trip. We're going to have fun and we're going to have a great time. And Andrew agrees. And then Molly gets an email on her phone, and then she has a meeting that she didn't know about at the last minute. It's going to take place right before her flight. She is frustrated about that, but she assures Andrew that she's going to get there on time. So we skip to the next day. We see Molly at her office, and her assistant walks in. And she really grills her assistant about, like, girl, like, what happened? Like, why didn't I know about this meeting beforehand? Like, this is so last minute. And whenever you do something last minute, it makes me look like an idiot. And the assistant apologizes. She's very look, it was like a very busy week. The case was very hectic, and I just saw it the other day. And then Molly cuts her off and is like, you know what? No excuses. Like, I just need you not to mess up again. And then she assures, like, okay, I won't do that. And that kind of took me back to my Nordstrom days. I used to style a bunch of lawyers, and I've always wondered, like, why are all of them douchebags? Like, why? Like, is it like a personality trait of a lawyer to be an asshole? Like, it comes with the job description. Like, you can't really care about people's feelings. Like, I would really like to know the perspective from a lawyer. Like, why do you guys treat people like their feelings don't matter? Like, they're not human beings as well. So we see Molly. She arrives at the airport, and she's running down the terminal trying to figure out where to go, and she barely makes it. Like, she just makes it by the skin of her teeth. And then they get on the plane ride, and then they sit down. And then there's an older lady. I forgot her name. It was either Mabel, I believe. I'm gonna call her Stella's Got Her Grooves Back. I think she was played by Kim Fields. Very good acting, because I didn't even realize that was her up until the end credits. So the old lady's basically on a trip to find herself again. She's like, you know, like, this is my first time being divorced, you know. This is day 3, and I just wanted to go on this trip. And them two are like, oh, yeah, that's good. I don't care. So them two, Molly then asks Andrew, like, I know your brother wants to do a lot, but can we just relax tonight? Like, I'm just really tired. This is going to be a long flight. And Andrew, even though he knows his brother is very anal and very wants to stick to a very strict schedule, he tries to he promises her that he's going to work something out, and then he proceeds to fingering her on the airplane. So we skip towards the resort. It's beautiful. I would really like once this coronavirus thing is over, I would love to take a trip to Mexico. I haven't been to Mexico since I want to say 3 or 4 years old. But it was a beautiful resort, and then they link up with Andrew's brother and his sister-in-law. And like they are infatuated by Molly, mainly the sister-in-law. She's just like, "Oh wow, you're just like so pretty." Like she's complimenting her. Like who knows if it was fake or not? But you know the things that like women do when they first meet. Like you're part of the family basically, or you're about to become a part of the family. So let me just butter you up as much as I can. So the brother runs down like everything they want to do for the day, and I believe they wanted to go like get massages and also like get some Mexican cigars and smoke them, and they also wanted to do something else that night. And Andrew was like, you know what, that's a little bit too much, but we're gonna try to make it. So they go up to the hotel room, they change, and they then see what each other brought on the trip. And we see Molly, she whips out some lingerie that she got from the Victoria's Secret store closing sale. And then we also see Andrew, he's like, oh, I may have missed the mark. This man pulls out some anal beads and two dildos. And then Molly's like, damn, like I knew I should have got that feather. And then they proceed to like reassuring each other, like, the gifts are cool. Like, we're really just here to like spend time with each other, like, if that makes sense. And then they proceed to have awkward sex on the balcony. So the next day, they ended up not meeting up with their brother at all. Like, they skipped everything they were supposed to do that day. So we see them meeting up to go hike. I forgot the location. I forgot the name of the mountain, but it doesn't matter. But yeah, they meet up and they apologize for not making anything. They just say that they were basically tired, and then we see Stella got her groove bag pop up. She like came down from the trail, so she's finished her hike, and she basically assures them like, oh, like this is like this was like a beautiful view. Day for me being single, yada yada yada. And at first I thought she was gonna try to like tag along with them the whole trip, but that didn't even happen. It was just like a useless cameo in my opinion. So instead of hiking, they end up running up the damn canyon, and I'm just like, good luck with that. Like, I ain't about to be running up no mountain, please. Like, I'm athletic, but I ain't about to be. It's already hot in Mexico. Like, who wants to do that? So they make it up there, and it's a very beautiful view. Very, like, it's really nice. Like, I didn't appreciate nature when I was younger, but now that I'm older, like, it's beautiful to just get away from, like, civilization and really just see the true beauty when nature actually takes over certain parts of the world. So they take in the view, and then they proceed to zip line down. I don't know if I would ever have the balls to do that. Like, they were really high up. Like, maybe I don't know, cause like I used to be afraid of roller coasters back in the day, and now I love them, and I actually miss Astroworld. So who knows? So we skip over to the next scene, and let's see where we're at. I kind of lost track. So they get home. They went dancing that night, and then we see Nathan FaceTimed Andrew. Now, we don't know if Nathan is still Andrew's roommate or if Nathan was just house sitting for Andrew while they're out of town. Who knows? But Nathan FaceTimes Andrew to ask the location of something in his house. And then we hear Issa's voice in the background. So we see that Nathan and Issa actually got to link up and hang out. And then Molly sits on her bed. She's like, she recognizes Issa's voice. She's like, typical. She's still hanging out with Nathan. Like, what is this, Groundhog Day? Like, she just never learns her lesson. Like, she just chooses to be messy. And then here we go again. It's just Molly being judgmental for no reason. Like, she is so pressed. She tries to act like she's not bothered by Issa, and she tries to act like she's not like bothered by the fact that Issa has not reached out to her, because back in the day, by then, Issa probably would have been the first to reach out and apologize. But Issa's like standing firm in her ground and like, no, girl, like I'm not hitting you up. And it bothers Molly, even though she tries to brush it off. And then Andrew tells Molly, like, well, back then Nathan was actually dealing with like a lot of mental health stuff. Like he was just dealing with it. And Issa was basically just a casualty on him having like a panic attack or something. He didn't really go in depth what type of mental issues or problems he was facing with. I really wanted to know what was going on that made him just go radio silent for a whole entire week or two, but it is what it is. Molly kind of like sees Nathan's point of view as to why, like, she kind of starts to understand why Nathan ghosted Issa, and that it didn't have anything to do with Issa. It was really just him getting himself together so he could come back to Issa in the correct way. So in that next scene, we see them all. They're sitting by the pool, and they're having a conversation. And it's in this scene, it's just Andrew, the sister-in-law, and Molly. So we get a little mini tidbit about Andrew's sister and what's going on with her as of today. The sister-in-law's like, you should really reach out to your sister. Like, she's really trying to get her life together. Like, she had went into her favorite sandwich shop, and she decided to go ahead and get a job there. And he's like, oh well, I guess that sounds like her. And we still don't really know what's going on with her. Like, I think that maybe she was like a drug addict or like a recovering addict of some kind, or maybe she was just a party girl that never got her life together and like on some Lindsay Lohan type of mess, if that makes sense, but who knows. So we see a guy, he swims by really fast and splashes the sister-in-law in the eye, and she can't really see. So it must have been like strong, like it must have been like salt water or like really strong chlorine, who knows. So Molly proceeds to go to the cabana to go get a towel. Now we get to the cabana, and this is where the Oprah aha moment of the show happened. We see like a white couple get their towels, but we didn't see them show the key card. So Molly gets to the desk and she asks for a towel, and the cabana girl's like, oh, well, can I see your key card? And Molly's like, well, why do you need to see my key card? Like, I just got out the I just got out the pool. And then the girl was like, well, every person that's a resident here has to show their key card in order for them to get a free towel. And then Molly's like, well, the white people didn't have to show their key card. Like, what's going on? And then the cabana girl's like, I don't know what you're trying to say, but you just need to show me your card. And she's like, Molly's basically like challenging her, like, why do I have to show my card? Like, just give me the towel. Like, I'm a resident here. And the girl's like, okay, if you don't calm down, I'm gonna have to get my manager. And she's like, over a towel, please. And then Andrew's brother walks up and shows the key card, and then the girl tries to hand the towel over to Andrew's brother, and she snatches the towel out of her hand. And then they go back to the pool. She hands the towel to the sister-in-law, and Andrew looks at Molly and considers that something is wrong. And then he asks her, like, is everything okay? And Molly's like, not really, but it was over something, like, it was a little mini issue with the cabana girl, like, trying to charge me basically on some racist type of mess. And then she's like, she goes to the brother, like, you saw it, right? And then at first the brother agrees with her, yeah, I saw it. But then he's like, hypothetically speaking, what if it wasn't about race? What if it was just, you just needed to show her your key card? And then Molly's like, well, what are you talking about? It clearly was about race. Like, those other white people didn't have to show their key card. And then he's like, well, I mean, you could think that it's racism, but like, she was really just doing her job. Like, you shouldn't have to think everything is about race, because it's just gonna make your life harder. And then Molly's like, oh, okay, whatever. Like, what would you know? Like, you are only people of color whenever it benefits you. And he's like, trust me, like, please, I deal with racism, but I'm not gonna dwell on it and make my life harder about it. And then Molly was just like, oh, please, like, whatever. Like, you're not going to understand. Like, you guys only want to be people of color whenever it's, like, an issue facing y'all. Like, y'all don't see other forms of racism unless it deals with y'all. And then the whole group takes offense to that. And then she reassures Andrew, like, no, like, you're different. And then he's like, different how? And then Andrew kind of starts to look at her funny. And then, the brother kind of takes it as a joke, and Molly's being serious. He's like, oh no, like, I struck a nerve. Like, let's have a debate. Like, this is, like, fun to me. And she's like, no, F you. Like, I don't need this. Bye. You need to check your brother. Now, let's dissect this for a little bit. They did not show the white people showing their card. So we don't know, like, did they show their card or did they not? I went to the Bahamas, and we stayed at the Atlantis back when I was in high school. And you would have a lot of tourists that would frequent the area, that would frequent the pools, but they weren't staying at the resort. So you would either have to show your key card to show you're staying there to get a free towel, or if you were an outsider, you would have to pay for them. So I understood like the policy, like that's not something that's new. But at the same time, like as a black person, stuff like this has happened before. Like a person in charge, like a sales associate or something of a different race, they will do some underhanded, low key racism stuff, but then act all surprised when a black person calls them out about it to their face. So it's kind of like I see where Molly was coming from, and I see where the brother was coming from. I'm not on no all lives matter type of mess. Like I see both sides of the issue. And then on top of that, it's just like Asian people. Now I love Asian people. I have a lot of friends that are Asian. A lot of them I consider them like family at this point. Like we've had many drunken nights together. I've had people of the Asian race throw up in my hands and throw up on my shoes. Like I nursed them through drunken nights and all that type of mess. But I will say Asian people kind of tend to lean towards the white side of things in this country, if that makes sense. Not all of them, but a large majority of them, because in white people's eyes, they see Asians as the good minority. Like they're not problematic and they know how to like stay in their lane, if that makes sense. I love Asian people, but like we gotta keep it all the way real. A lot of them don't even really sympathize with like Black Lives Matter or the black struggle until something affects them. Like Exhibit A, when this coronavirus situation hit, a lot of Asian people faced discrimination in this country, and the first thing the government did was set up a hotline for them to talk to people if they've experienced any form of racism and discrimination. And it's just like, not to be on some Me Too type of ish, but it's just like where has our hotline been at? Like who can we run to when we face these issues? Like I'm not gonna dwell on it too any much longer, but like I just have to put a pin in that. Like Asian people, y'all need to try to understand the stuff, our struggles, and the things that we face in this country, because it very well could be your turn to face the things that we face pretty soon. So they're back in the hotel. They Molly and Andrew are asleep, and there's like a lot of distance between them because it's awkward. Molly wakes up and she sees that Andrew's gone. For a second there, she's like, "Oh man, did this man just leave me? Like, did I mess up that bad?" But then he pops in, and she's like, "Oh, thank God." So we see Andrew. He asks if she's okay, and Molly is like, "Did I mess things up? Like, I really don't want to mess this trip up. Like, I do apologize for maybe overreacting." And Andrew reassures. He's like, "You know what? No, like my brother could be a dick sometimes. Like, just don't mind him. Like, we're gonna make it through this trip. Everything's gonna be fine." But after that, we don't really even see the brother and the mother and the sister-in-law anymore, so we don't know if their issues got resolved or not, or if they even had a conversation about it. So after that, we see Molly in a beautiful two-piece bathing suit walking on the beach alone, and she decides to hit up her therapist. Her therapist doesn't answer, but it's revealed that Molly stopped seeing her therapist for quite some time, and she's like, "You know what? I really need to get my life together." So she decides to start up meetings with her therapist again. And it was nice to see. We see Molly gain a little bit of self-awareness and be like, "Okay, I need to get my ish together so I can't mess up a good thing with Andrew." So we see them back. They're back in Los Angeles at LAX getting their bags. I absolutely loved Andrew's pink on pink outfit. I love that little blazer, not blazer, that jacket that he was wearing, that bomber jacket. It was really nice. And then we see them. They see Stella's got her grooves back, and then she done found a man on the trip, which is nice. I've always dreamed about finding like a significant other on a vacation. I think that would just be so dope. It'll happen one day. But we see boring Lawrence, and Molly's like, "Oh snap, Lawrence! Like, hey, And then she runs from Andrew to go walk over to him, and like she hits him up, gives him a handshake, a very awkward one, and then she's like, "Oh, well, where have you been up to?" And then she's like, "Oh, by the way, this is my boyfriend Andrew." It's very awkward meeting. And then we see that he had been out of town and he just got back from San Francisco. And Molly gives him like this very awkward like joke from Full House that nobody gets. It just falls completely flat. And then they just proceed to go on about their day. And then we figure out that next week is going to be an episode centered around boring Lawrence. And I'm just like, oh my God. This episode was very paper thin, very flat, very dry. I give it a 3 out of 10. Too much Molly. So let me know what you guys think about this episode. I mean, I really want to like this season. I don't dislike it, but it's just a little dry, y'all. Like I gotta be real. Like love the show, love Issa, but like I need to see something. Like the block party episode was so far the best episode of this entire season. Like I don't know, y'all. But let me know what you guys think. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'm going to come at you guys with some more content. Stay tuned.